So if you know anyone that wants to join, you want to get them to me right now. The more, the better for the program. So I know it's not. Let's see if I can. That is important. We're about to go into a 2-month segment here. That if you're not doing what you're saying, then it's completely fine. You can do it. You can still play football. That's completely fine. It's just there's about to be a 2-month chunk that I go down a path. Myself and the coaches go down a path with you guys. So looking forward to having you there with us. So quick offensive review. So we did 4 plays last week. We had red, which is triple, red pepper, which is play action, blue, which is toss, and blue pepper, which is the play action off it. Just to unveil a little bit more, odd numbers are to the left in our offense. Even numbers are to the right. So if we ran red 44, right, that would be triple option to the right. If we ran blue 13, that would be to the left. So looking back at, we've got red here versus, turns out to be an under. It's an 8-man front. And so that changes how we block it on the perimeter, but it doesn't change who number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is the first defender on or outside the tackle. So this guy is on an inside. Kind of take a look here at the end zone view. See how he's touching the tackle right there? So he would be what's called a 4-eye technique. And so he's number 1. If he were in the gap, then he would not be number 1. He would not be the person we try and read. He would be too close to the mesh. Number 2 is outside. So we're about to run red 13 here. We're about to run red 13. This is number 1. This is number 2. And so we read number 1. So you get a look. He takes the fullback. Notice how quick he's there, right? As a 4-eye. If he is not touching the tackle, this won't work. And that's why lining up with proper splits is incredibly important. Like, you can't run the play if you don't run up with the right splits. So we've got number 1 takes the fullback, number 2 takes the pitch, and the quarterback runs for a touchdown. It's always fun. Here would be red pepper 12. Red pepper 12. So we're going to call the backfield action. And so we've got the defense here. I'm going slow here. Red. So it's red 22 pepper, or red pepper 22. And so we've got the middle of the field with no defender in it. And so we're going to run an offensive guy right to it. And there's nobody around him. That's a great catch. That's a way to go down and catch it. So go back. So this would be red pepper 22. We run a crack and a wheel. Strike up the band. So toss gets that ball outside. So schematically, we've got, it's going to be blue 13, right? Or blue 55, any odd number, this would work. So number 1 and number 2 are used to playing triple option. And so as long as we can catch that ball, look how wide he's going to catch that thing. See how wide he is? And so we actually outrun the defensive end. See, he cannot make the play there. He knows he can't. You'll see at the end, he's frustrated with himself. But we don't block him. He's free to run. We just catch it so wide that we're able to, that we are able to get the ball outside of him. See how he claps right there? See, look at him right there. Right? He knows it. He's like, I didn't get blocked. And they almost scored a touchdown. So we'll take a look at blue pepper here. This would be formation-wise. This is now going to be out of trips. We're going to step. We just did it. He's on the line, so he's off the line. So this is trips right. And so we're going to run blue pepper 13. Blue pepper 13. So we're action in the backfield is left. Boom, and we've got 3 levels here. Remember that fullback last week? He gets out into the flat. He goes away from the call for this reason. So he's actually covered. Out of trips, we get a short corner route from the middle receiver. And that's the throw right there. That's a nice catch. It's a tough ball to catch, one that's coming right at your kneecaps. So it's a good rep by Ramsey's. Good throw, early up throw. So that would be blue pepper. All right, I'm gonna give you one other thing here. And we have not talked about this, but that's ball security. You know, if that ball is, we call this locked away. If you notice right there, and this is by design, it is locked. The pressure through the forearm, right through your rib cage, back elbow locked down, splitting the tip with your index and your middle finger. So he is sending a message to the rest of the team that that's our ball, and the defense will not be taking it away from us even after the play. So defense. All right. This is how we end up, I'm going to let you take a look at this. Actually, let me do this. I got you guys here. Give me a thumbs up if you guys once you guys read this here, not right now. Once you read this, the defense, right, these 4 defensive approaches here. Give me a thumbs up on there. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. And so what I want to say about this, there's nothing proprietary on here. Playing with 100% effort. Sure. I mean, you go to pretty much any program, they're going to have that on there. Play with great effort, execute. I make some points here about the details, proper leverage, run fits. Nothing. That's all teams. Be physical, ball aware. We're going to take the ball away. We're going to be aware of that ball, just like we will on offense. But the point of this is it's not those words that the slide's about to disappear. It's how we're going to go about doing it, and how we're going to focus on the details of the game to where we do these things, and how you're held accountable to them by myself and the coaching staff. So, at some point you're like, yeah, I've seen this before. It makes good sense. So, now we get into the details. So you have to be able to line up. One of the things that is most glaring when I look back at some of the older film, of you guys is, you have to be able to identify the offense and properly line up. There's no, maybe about that. This is a non-negotiable. You have to be able to do it. If you can't do that, you can't play. If we can't do that as a team, the other team will continue to score lots of points. And we won't have a chance to be competitive until we can do that. So put a bunch of, the 11 players, they all have different names. And so the front, I lose my cursor here. So the front is the 5, the nose, the whip, and the bandit. Those are the stand-up 3 techniques. The quick and the end are the 5 techniques, the guys that are lined up outside the tackle. Little bit here, a little bit of complexity when you have a tight end attached to the formation. But those front 5, those are what we call the front. That's the first level. Second level is going to be the Mike, the Rover, and the Sam, the strong safety. The third level is the boundary corner. So that's right. There's the field and the boundary. The field would be the side that is largest. So if they're on a hash, it's the side to the field. That's the corner will always go to the field. One will go to the boundary, and then you have a free safety. So those just kind of our base alignment, who's who. And at this point, like, again, I get it. Like, I don't know what position you're going to play. You probably don't know what position you're going to play. So we're going to take advantage of this and get a chance to just see the whole defense, see the entire thing lined up, and get a feel for who's doing what here. I need my cursor, so sorry, I got to go back to this view. So from a front point of view, these 5 right here, also the field is always going to be to our right in all these pictures here. The field will be to our right. So the FC, the field corner, will always be right. The boundary corner will always be left. Free safety will be, when all sort of said, shaded to the field generally at about 12 yards. Those front 5 right there have no need to learn how to line up except who's to the field and who's to the boundary. They don't care about all the other players, all the skill players, right? They're going to line up with those in those leverages. There's a 3 technique, right? There's a 5 technique. And so it gets a little interesting when there's a tight end, but for right now, we can just sort of pretend like there isn't one. These 5 players are responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gaps. Right? These are called spill players. They are squeezing everything such that the ball always bounces. They are spilling everything. We then have players who are assigned to be leverage players, right, to each side. Those leverage players then force the ball back inside, and that gives our linebackers a chance to run to make the tackle. Free safety is responsible for the middle of the field and the quarterback's legs if we end up with a team that is using those. But he will be the middle of the field defender. We will never not have a defender in the middle of the field on our defense. So this is how we approach. We got a single back, and so we've got 1 middle linebacker. That's it. Okay, we would never have 2 middle linebackers against single back, because then we're short a force player. So this kind of gives you a feel. Let me give you a couple more here. This is now like your pro, tight end, 2 running backs. So now look, the Mike and the Rover are both inside. Right? They're 2 linebacker defense now. And we're a 2 linebacker defense because we've got 2 running backs. All right. Here's our force player. To the tight end side would be the strong safety. Right? The force player to the open end side is going to be the Mike. This guy's going to spill, right? Both of those 2 are going to read the backs. So if that ball goes this side, he becomes the force player, right? He becomes the tackler if the fullback and the tailback go that way. So that's how we're going to line up. Again, the field is to the right. So field corner is over here. Boundary corner is over here. Don't worry about it if we're playing cover 3, if we're playing cover 1, it doesn't matter right now. We're just trying to get lined up. All right, slot. Here we've got a tight end, right? We've got a slot, 2 backs. So we've got 2 linebackers. The Mike and the Rover are inside, right? Strong safety is extended to number 2, right? The boundary corner becomes the force player over here. He's in a 3-by-3 position off that tight end. Right? Because of the field being to the right, the free safety will be he will be shaded to the field. And we got one more here. This would be out of trips. So we've got a 3 receiver side. So you've noticed the Sam or the strong safety is over number 2, right? The Rover is here because we've got number 3 over here. So again, he's also the force player. And I understand that you can't play run and pass at the same time, but we can fit the run every time. And so 1 linebacker because we've got 1 running back. So there's our Mike because we've got 1 running back. Here's our force player to the boundary. That's the boundary corner. So that boundary corner, has coverage and, run responsibilities. And then there's our free safety. Right? We will always have a defender in the middle of the field. He may not stay there. Right? He won't stay there. But that's what he is. Right? If we see play action, right? His eyes, depending on where we got his eyes, probably in the backfield. And then he will run to try and stay deeper than the deepest. So the free safety is going to run quite a bit. So I know right now you've got, run 1 mile. the free safety is going to run a lot more than a mile in a football game. So it's a fun position to play, but you get tired. So that kind of gives us our first look at our defense. So this, this content here, oops,